everybody, welcome to the Movie Guide. I am Brendan Dando of the Four Finger Discount Network, joined right now by Guy Davis.
Hello, Dando.
And the Leonard Maltin.
Good day to you, sir.
Now, we're here to find out whether we can catch Leonard Maltin. We're here to review Catch Me If You Can. Now, Guy, take it away. What did you like about this film?
What a treat to revisit this movie.
Absolutely right.
My wife and I were really captivated by it. I think that's the only word, captivated by it, because it's been so long since I've seen it that it was like watching a brand new movie. And only is better than most of the brand new movies I've been seeing lately. What an incredible story of a man who's a professional...
confidence artist, shall we say.
Well, he's not just a con artist. He's a professional...
chameleon, perhaps.
Chameleon is one word for it. He's a poseur. He's a guy who can insinuate himself into any situation, seemingly any situation, and make it seem as if he knows what he's doing and that he is who he says he is. He's a fraud, but he's a charming fraud and a quick study. And he gets all this apparently from his dad, played memorably and beautifully by Christopher Walken, who got an Academy Award nomination for this performance. And you see Walken at work early in the film, and you say, wow, he can really get away with that, can't he? And his son takes it to new heights, heights that his father could only dream of.
Literally. Well, let's give a bit of background about Catch Me If You Can. This is the story of Frank Abagnale Jr., who in the 1960s, at the ripe old age of 17, embarked on a career of confidence games and, as you said, professional posing. He posed as an airline pilot, a medical doctor, and a lawyer. He was forging checks and defrauding companies out of millions of dollars. Now, admittedly, this was in a more analog era when you could sort of get away with this kind of thing, maybe a little easier, but the ingenuity and the confidence that Frank Jr. showed in doing all this led the authorities on a merry chase, not just across America, but quite frankly, across the world. Yeah, but this is also a story of a young man who doesn't really know who he is and hasn't had much guidance, or he's had terrible guidance. Mm-hmm. Well, from his father, but he's had a sort of a strange upbringing. And has to find himself by being a whole bunch of other people.
And you root for him. What he's doing is really dangerous in some cases, outlandish, outrageous, and yet you're rooting for him every step of the way, especially as he's portrayed by Leonardo DiCaprio. I think this is one of DiCaprio's greatest performances, right on top of his game here. And he's believable enough as a 17-year-old boy, which he wasn't then, but willing to cut him some slack because he's just so engaging.
That's right. Now, fittingly, perhaps given that this is a story of a con artist, Catch Me If You Can sort of plays a little fast and loose with the true story of Frank Abagnale. But you're right about DiCaprio in that he really sort of conveys that confidence and that authority. Now, this is when he's still sort of trying to find his feet, really. It's a really good bridging performance between the teen idol stuff of Romeo and Juliet and Titanic and the stuff that he would do later with Martin Scorsese, with Christopher Nolan, with Alejandro Iñárritu, all those guys. He's not quite an adult leading man yet. I think that would come a few years later, maybe even, I think he might even have to wait till like 2010 and Inception for him to start convincingly playing grown-ups. He does great work with Scorsese in the later half of the 2000s. But this catches him at just the right phase. I mean, Frank's very much a kid, but he's someone with an unparalleled skill for conveying and convincing people of his maturity and his authority. And I think that's DiCaprio to a T in this. Yeah, I think it shows the beginnings of the star that he was going to become, I think.
Yes. It's kind of a breakthrough of sorts. You watch how other people respond to him with fascination. Women are putty in his hands. I don't know how else to put it. The film's leading lady is Amy Adams, herself on the cusp of stardom, and she's just irresistibly appealing in this film, as she is in so many others. But other young, rising female stars are in the film, too, in small roles. Ellen Pompeo, for one, and Elizabeth Banks, and notably Jennifer Garner, in a scene we shouldn't describe or give away.
We should not, but we will just say that I won't say this is the best that Jennifer Garner's been on screen. She continues to surprise me, or she always surprised me throughout her career. When I first saw her, it was very much like, okay, well, we've got Julia Roberts at home. That's what she reminded me of. It's like, this is the TV version of Julia Roberts. But then you watch her in the TV series Alias, and it's like, you're an incredibly, dynamic physical actor. You're great in that. And of course, she, would parlay that into being the superhero Elektra in less than accessible movies. But then she also had this great facility for goofy romantic comedy in 13 Going on 30. I was like, I didn't expect this from you. And then she was great in dramatic roles in Juno. And here she's just incredibly sexy and just radiant. It's a really great sort of little cameo performance, a little movie within the movie. And it's like watching the Thomas Crown Affair or something with her and DiCaprio. They have terrific chemistry. I'd love to see them get paired again because they were so good in this.
Yeah.
You're right about Grey's Anatomy star Ellen Pompeo. This was, pre-Grey's Anatomy, but she's in it for like maybe 5 minutes, but incredibly captivating. Elizabeth Banks has a few moments, but you see just the great comic timing and presence that she has. And Amy Adams is just wonderful. And Amy Adams is the real sort of, her performance and her storyline is kind of the real inflection point, because you talked about how you're cheering for DiCaprio and you're cheering for Frank early on, because these are essentially, I won't say victimless crimes, but he's ripping off banks and he's ripping off airlines. They can afford to lose a few bucks here and there. That's fine. But the stakes are instantly raised when Frank falls in love with this young nurse, Brenda, played by Amy Adams, even though she's fallen for the doctor that he's posing at. You can see that he wants he wants this connection with this young woman. He really wants the connection with the family that she has. This is the stable family unit that he's been longing for his whole life. And of course, it's very astute casting that Martin Sheen plays her father.
Perfect. Just perfect.
And when that, spoilers for Catch Me If You Can, when that inevitably breaks down and falls apart, it's really heartbreaking because you see the real stakes of what Frank is doing here. There are real consequences to his actions.
Yeah, which he doesn't like to think about.
No, because she's essentially a child. I mean, not a literal child, but I mean, she's very childlike in her reactions and this fairy tale life that she's wanted to create with Frank, and that Frank wants to give her. It's
yeah. But we haven't mentioned the film's co-star, Tom Hanks.
It's kind of the reason we're talking about Catch Me If You Can. We're on a bit of a Hanks run, and Hanks was on a real run at this stage. He's worked with Spielberg on Saving Private Ryan a few years earlier. He's done Castaway the previous year. And I think he's producing Band of Brothers around this time. I want to say that Hanks actually had received like the National Film Society. He got on their register or something along those lines. But he was like the youngest person to be recognized, to be inducted into it at that stage. So, yeah, Hanks is really being recognized as a power player.
He was a young veteran at this point.
That's correct, yeah. So for him to take essentially a supporting role, I mean, he's second billed in Catch Me If You Can, even though he's kind of the co-lead. He's playing FBI agent Carl Hanratty, who's
trying to catch the elusive and the cocky show-off that is Frank Abagnale.
That's right, yeah.
Who enjoys taunting and teasing this poor straight-laced FBI agent who is so straight-laced that he doesn't even get the respect of his colleagues. They think he's a prig and have no use for his workaholic ways. But he is determined that he's going to nail Frank Abagnale. He's going to get him, whatever it takes. So that's the other part of the equation of the movie is their relationship, an unusual relationship by any measure.
Well, here's the thing. I mean, yeah, Frank has these various father figures throughout the movie. He's got his actual father, played by Chris Walken. He's got this surrogate father, played by Martin Sheen. But yeah, Hanks's Hanratty is really the sort of tough love father figure that he needs and that Frank actually wants, is really looking for. That's why he keeps calling him. That's why he sort of keeps him on the line all the time. And it's quite astute casting Hanks because, yeah, this character could have been a real stick in the mud, a sort of by the numbers antagonist. But Hanks gives him enough Hanks personality and Hanks likability. It's like, well, am I cheering for Frank or am I cheering for Carl? You're invested in both relationships. I mean, rewatching Catch Me If You Can. Sorry, this is going to sound like a bit of a tangent, but this felt like a very Hitchcockian movie to me, and not like a scary Hitchcock movie or a twisted one like Psycho or Vertigo, but something like The Man Who Knew Too Much or something like that. It's playful Hitchcock, and Hitchcock could do that really well. And this struck me as Spielberg sort of doing that kind of thing.
Well, it opens with a wonderful title, an animated title sequence, which is brought to vivid life by John Williams' music, which also was nominated for an Academy Award that year. It's a wonderful score, a very jazzy score that keeps reminding you that this is entertainment. This is an entertainment. It's not a sobering piece of social criticism.
No.
It's a lark. That's how Spielberg is presenting it to us in the audience, as a lark, which is why it's so much fun to watch.
And if Spielberg is doing that and he's sort of being that mode of Hitchcock, then he's got Hanks in Jimmy Stewart mode. I mean, we often talk about Tom Hanks as a bit of a modern-day James Stewart, but this felt like a very Jimmy Stewart performance to me in a lot of ways. And it's really light on its feet, but it's also got great Hanks humor. And also, this is just a movie that uses its PG-13 one F-bomb very, very effectively. Yeah, I'm not going to spoil this for people, but yeah, you're allowed to drop the F-bomb once in a PG-13 movie, and Catch Me If You Can does it just right. Yeah, so Hanks is really, really good in this. And yeah, willing to take a back seat, but also sort of front and center. He's a good balance for DiCaprio. It's interesting. This had a lot of directors attached before Spielberg got involved. David Fincher, I think, was like the first person involved. And honestly, I love David Fincher, but I would not want to see his Catch Me If You Can. It would be kind of dark and depressing, I think, and not right. But someone who was attached for quite some time, and someone who's recently made a comeback after not having made a movie for a very long time, was Gore Verbinski, the maker of the Pirates of the Caribbean movies. Yeah, I could see him doing it. He's a filmmaker I really like, and he's got a movie in cinemas now called Good Luck, Have Fun, Don't Die, which is apparently a bit of a twisted black comedy that I'm kind of looking forward to seeing. I've missed Gore Verbinski. He cast DiCaprio, and he had a lot of people attached. James Gandolfini was actually going to play Hanratty, and I could see that. I can see Gandolfini doing it.
I can see that too. Totally different from Hanks.
Absolutely, but I can see him bringing both the bearish good humor that Gandolfini could do, but also the exasperation that he could do so well. I think it'd be great.
And the menace, yeah.
Absolutely, yeah. We mentioned Christopher Walken before. Any opportunity that Guy Davis can take to talk about Christopher Walken, he will do it, and he will do it ad nauseum. So let's do it now. I loved that he was cast for this. Verbinski actually cast Ed Harris, which I think would have been a great performance as well. But around this time, around 2002, Christopher Walken had become quote-unquote Christopher Walken so much that a lot of filmmakers are like, let's just get Chris in to do the Walken thing. And Spielberg said, this guy's actually like one of the best actors around. Let's get him to give a real performance. It's funny. It's one of the things I've read about Walken is that he's a really accomplished stage actor, and he's regarded as a really naturalistic stage actor. You watch him on film, and he's incredibly stylized. You see him on stage, and apparently he's like just a very realistic kind of actor. I love it. I love Christopher Walken so much, and he's got such a distinctive style and presence that many people would just get him to do Christopher Walken. But here, he's playing this guy who's not a good guy at all. And in so many ways, he's a terrible parent, but he's weak and he's a victim, and he sort of revels in his victimhood. He's always blaming other people.
But he's endearing. He's endearing somehow.
He had one stroke of luck in his life in that he met this woman in France at the end of World War II and somehow won her heart. And he gets the feeling like, okay, well, it's all on the up and up for me now because, I've had this happen to me, so everything else is going to happen to me. And he's not willing to sort of put in the work. He wants to take shortcuts every way he can. And I don't know, Walken's not afraid to show you the weakness of that. I think a lot of actors wouldn't do that. But also, you're right in that he's endearing because, you see, he does want the best, but he's not willing to put in the work to do so.
Yeah.
There's great behind-the-scene footage of Spielberg directing a scene at a restaurant between DiCaprio and Walken, and Walken is just giving him option after option with each take they do. And everyone is surprised by what he brings to the table and just astonished by the range and the virtuosity. So, it's great. And I'm so glad that he was recognized by the Academy with a nomination, even if he didn't win. It's just saying, oh, yeah, there's more to this guy than the way of speaking or the demonic presence that he can sometimes bring to things. Yeah, he's a fantastic actor, and he's really good in this.
And he, not unlike Mr. DiCaprio, started out as a child performer.
That's right, yeah.
He was in show business his whole life, has been in show business his whole life.
Yeah, as you mentioned, only 2 nominations for Oscar nominations for Catch Me If You Can, but one for Walken and one for John Williams. Yeah, I love his score in this. So unlike anything that you would expect from John Williams, who was so...
Oh, absolutely. And it sets the tone for the movie. Visually, wonderful animation, wonderful graphics, and orally with this lighthearted music, it sets you up for exactly the kind of movie you get.
That's right. I say this with all due respect and love for the music of John Williams. It's usually a bit bombastic, but in the best possible way. They're great hero scores, whether it's, the Superman theme or the Star Wars theme or the Indiana Jones music or even the Harry Potter theme, which he'd done a year before this. This is stuff that's very, and all the Jurassic Park music as well. It's very uplit, it's very swelling. And this is just, again, I keep using the term nimble and light on its feet, but that's what this is as well. But at the same time, when the movie takes a slightly darker turn or a more melancholy turn, the music steers into that as well and steers you in that direction. Spielberg just works with great people.
Yeah. I once interviewed Spielberg about John Williams for a project I was doing, and he said he rewrites the movie.
Yeah.
When he gets his turn at bat, what you wind up with is the John Williams version of the movie, of Spielberg's movie, which he loves and doesn't resent at all.
Well, no, I mean, if you're good at what you do, then of course you're not going to be intimidated by what anyone else brings to the table. It's like, oh, well, you're adding something else to this fantastic smorgasbord.
It's a team sport.
That's exactly right. Yeah, because I mean, I want to talk about Spielberg because you can't really say enough about the guy. This would be regarded as kind of like, I won't say a lesser effort by him, but I mean, this is coming off, as we said, Saving Private Ryan in 1998, regarded as one of the great war movies. In 2001, he made Artificial Intelligence, AI Artificial Intelligence, which was sort of like started as a Stanley Kubrick project and is a really ambitious and provocative movie, I think. And then he did Minority Report. 2002 is one of Spielberg's 1-2 punch years because occasionally he'll do like Jurassic Park and Schindler's List in 93, or he'll do War of the Worlds in Munich in 2005. It's like the man's got incredible work ethic or incredible drive and discipline. And in 2002, he does Catch Me If You Can and Minority Report, both fantastic movies, both very, very different. But I think you'd look at Catch Me If You Can and say, oh, well, he did this in his lunch hour. You could think that. Then you look at it, it's like, there's a lot going on here, and it's so well made.
Oh, no, he's a master of detail. Everyone I've ever interviewed about him, about working with him, says that there's nothing his eye doesn't catch. There's nothing that he doesn't know is going on a set or a location. Every shot. That's what makes him a great filmmaker. That's one of the things that makes him a great filmmaker.
They're absolutely the case, yeah. But it's funny. I forgot what year The Fabelmans came out. I want to say like 2023 or something like that. Very autobiographical film, but more than one person has talked about how it's kind of the skeleton key or the source code for everything that Spielberg has made. It's like in telling the story of his childhood and his weird, I won't say weird family dynamic, but fractured family dynamic.
Yeah.
You can see it in so many of his other projects, and especially here in the relationships, and particularly in the father-son sort of dynamics. It gives it real depth. But it's funny, even a Spielberg trifle is like a 3-star Michelin restaurant
That's
dessert.
right. That's right.
Yeah.
Keep it all in perspective here. This is a master.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Even the stuff that's sort of like considered B tier would be a 5-star masterpiece by any other filmmaker. So and including something like Catch Me If You Can, which is just. I'm sorry, I use this line all the time. I paraphrase this line from The Wire. It's like, wow, we used to make things in this country. Admittedly, Catch Me If You Can is something like, coming up on 25 years old. Where'd that time go, Leonard?
Yeah.
But I don't know. It just feels so well made.
Well, the good news is we have a new Spielberg movie to look forward to this year.
That is correct. One of Leonard Maltin's top 3 choices.
Called Disclosure Day.
Yeah, hopefully it's sort of I won't say a return to Close Encounters form, but I think it's going to be very much of a piece with Close Encounters of the Third Kind, which again is a really sort of personal and idiosyncratic movie. For a movie about like, do aliens exist? It's like a lot going on in Close Encounters. And I imagine there's going to be a lot going on in Disclosure Day as well. I want to talk about Most Valuable Player of Catch Me If You Can. This is very much a DiCaprio movie, and as you said, DiCaprio's great in it. Hanks is providing excellent backup while being a co-lead. Walken is fantastic. I almost want to give Most Valuable Player to Amy Adams for the reasons I was talking about before. I think that her performance really shifts the movie into another direction, and it wouldn't have the emotional heft that it has without the relationship that Frank has with Amy Adams' character, Brenda. I think it just makes us truly aware of the cost that the life Frank is living it has on both himself and the people around him.
You're right. She is. And she's, of course, proven herself time and time again to be up to almost any challenge. She's a wonderful, wonderful actress. And this was an early showcase for her.
Very much the case. Apparently, yeah, Spielberg was convinced this was going to be a breakthrough thing for her, and she was going to be the next big thing. But it was a few more years before
Junebug.
Before Junebug, this independent movie that garnered her an Oscar nomination, and really sort of set her on the road to stardom that she's enjoying now. Double feature, Leonard. Should we pair something with Catch Me If You Can, or is it good enough by itself?
The one thing I will say, it is a long movie. It is reminiscent of today's films in that one respect.
That is, for something, we considered fairly sort of light and breezy. It is 2 hours and change.
Yeah.
It does fly by.
Not small change, 2 hours and 21 minutes.
Correct, yeah. So, I don't know, maybe leave it by itself. Although, having said that, I would pair it with Ocean's 11 from the year earlier, Steven Soderbergh's remake, just to get a feel of what mainstream American filmmaking for grown-ups used to be like.
Well, okay. I'll go with that.
I'm glad I brought you around to my way of thinking.
Well, only if I have like a good seat cushion.
Okay. I'm very persuasive, not unlike Frank Abagnale in that way. I can bring you around to my way of thinking.
I've got a question for you, Leonard. Are you a snack eater when you watch a film? Because Guy is not. He despises popcorn.
I like a snack. I just don't like popcorn.
If I go to a movie theater for an evening show, I want popcorn, even if I've just had dinner. That's so strange about it. It's a Pavlovian response, somehow, being in the movie theater and munching popcorn.
Are you a flavored popcorn guy, though? Or you just sort of hot buttered popcorn?
No. I don't need flavors.
No candied popcorn or anything like that?
No. And at one time, my late colleague Roger Ebert was beating the drums for air-popped corn, without oils and things. And it tasted exactly like styrofoam. So I don't want that stuff either. I want real popcorn.
Well, we cooked popcorn at home on the weekend, and my son straight away said, "This smells like the movies." And I was like, "That's right, it does, son."
You're raising that kid right.
Yeah.
That's right.
That's Catch Me If You Can.
Yeah, that is Catch Me If You Can. Hope you guys enjoyed that review. Don't forget, you can get early and ad-free access to this show by being a supporter of ours on Patreon. You can find the link for that in the description of this podcast. Also, please get your questions through. We'd love to hear from each and every single one of you. Send through your questions and we'll answer those on the upcoming mailbag episode here of the Movie Guide. Also, please continue to rate and review us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you are finding this podcast. Leave us 5 stars and leave a few kind words as well. Would be much appreciated. But this has been our review of Catch Me If You Can. Thanks for joining me, Guy.
Thank you, Dando.
Thank you, the Leonard Maltin.
Thank you, sir.
And we will catch you all in the next episode of the Movie Guide with Maltin and Davis.